false figures walk through the fire, no one limbers. Kings and judges, prophets profound, plowing the word, no mythical ground. Verse after verse, wisdom's bound, heavenly soundtrack, soul serving sound. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed? Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? No shortcuts, all divine routes. Listen to the whispers, no room for doubt. Parables drop stronger than gold faucets. Souls hydrated from divine prophets. Study the book, change perspectives. Carefully crafted, not too subjective. A year to reflect, learning perfect. Patterns of grace that time can't deflect. Old Testament drops deep and so real. Kings and warriors, covenant seals. Split that Red Sea, divine reveal. Commandments written, not made of steel. Bethlehem birth to cross on the hill. Unfolding the never blessings, pastor with skill. Scripture flip, every verse fulfilled.
Through the word, every verse, every chapter, nothing unheard. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message, flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions, streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extend. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message, flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions, streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extend. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. 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 Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick.
Oh, wrong one. There we go. Oops, wrong one again. There we go. Welcome in, everybody! Welcome in! I need to get my Stream Deck working. I have not had a chance to play with the Stream Deck yet. So, having to scroll and click on, and as I was scrolling, I went too far and clicked on the wrong one. So, welcome in! Glad you are here with me today. I think the sound is spot on today. Maybe I finally got it nailed and the way it should be. I don't know. Sounded pretty good to me. So, there we go. take those off. Don't need to listen to myself. I don't know if everyone does that, to put their feed through their ears and listen as they are, prepping or streaming. But, musicians, I think, often, need to listen. And it's like, I don't know. That feels really weird to me. Maybe it's different if it's singing versus you're just talking. But anyway, not my favorite thing to do there. All right. We are in a good spot. At least I feel like it. We're not in December yet. What? It's only December 10. Okay. Let's get over here. Bible in a year. We finished through the 25th of of November on our schedule with the Old Testament. And now we're jumping back to the 17th here. Gonna hit the book of James, and I should try to get this filled out a little bit more today and finish that up. Excuse me. I do not know why I have the yawns so much lately. Boy, the last 2 weeks, yawn is what I've been up to. So, that's on Wednesday. Sorry, I was just looking at my Wednesday schedule. I might be able to sneak in here and finish James or start 1 Peter tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. I'm trying to remember if it's 1 Peter 3 that has the book of Enoch or where it is. Hey, Mel, welcome in. I hope you are doing well this morning. I'm just looking at where we are at. So we finished Ezekiel yesterday. I'm pretty impressed we got through Ezekiel yesterday. But we got to the temple there at the end, and it was just, let's describe all of this, and let's describe the new distribution of the land. And I didn't have a lot of side things to add to that, other than it's written down so that the assurance that it will happen is there. So now we're going to jump over to James. Yeah. Super early, so yawning seems appropriate. Yeah, I can say, but I don't know, like the last 2 weeks, I've been in a yawn fest, it seems like. I just... Right there. Just happens. And I know yawning is supposed to be contagious, but that just seems weird on some level. There's nobody here to pass it on to me, and I don't want to pass it to everybody watching, but... Daylight savings? No, not really. Just... Since I got back from all the conferences and everything that I had been gallivanting around the country going to. So, I don't know. Hard to pinpoint it as what it was. So, so we're in James. James, we debate over which James it is. I think traditionally it's been thought, and I say traditionally, church tradition, that it was James, the brother of Jesus, not James, the apostle James. Peter, Andrew, James, and John. John's brother, James. It's not thought to be James, John's brother, but that is a possibility. And I think there are, is it James, son of Alphaeus? I might be wrong on that. Anyway, there's like 3-4 possibilities of who it is. Frankly, it doesn't matter in my opinion who it is. The early church saw it as beneficial, saw it as authoritative, and they said it's scripture. There we go. I don't need to know which James it is. Let me see if the footnote here tells us. James, the word from is not, they're just saying. So it literally just says James, a slave in the Greek. And then they're just going to explain that slave versus bondservant and all of that. I like the use of slave because it is shocking from a modern sense of sensibility, because we're like, we don't want people to be slaves. I mean, we say that in theory. In practice, sometimes workers are not paid as much and taken care of, and I'm not saying anything that I'm in favor of slavery, but in some systems of slavery that are like the story that Jesus tells with the Good Samaritan, the workers of the household are well taken care of by a good owner, kind of thing. So it's not really any different from a bad employer who's exploiting. And this has happened throughout history in places where you live in a town, you have to buy and rent a house from the guy that you work for. You know, that might not happen as often anymore, but it has happened historically and then you have to buy from the store that's owned by the company that you are working for. So it's like your money gets to you and just goes right back to your employer. You know, that in some sense really feels to me like it's equivalent with that. So we're not good with the idea of being a slave, but James is right up front saying, no, this is who I serve, and the only one I serve, a slave of God and the love of Jesus Christ to the 12 tribes dispersed abroad. So, Mel, need a vacation from all the fall travel? Yes. Yeah, I would say that's no, I just need to stay home. Hey, good morning, Bird. Welcome in. Yeah, the company town. Yeah, if you ever have run into that or seen that. It's usually more on frontier kind of thing versus, well-established. But it can also happen in a town that is, staycation, that's what I need. A town that is diminishing and there is one employer in town, then they have, pretty much control over everything. Bird, I thought you'd been around before. Maybe it was a different Bird. Thank you for stopping in. We are reading in the book of James today. We're just getting started. And what's interesting, it says, to the 12 tribes dispersed abroad. The Greek term diaspora refers to Jews not living in, it says Palestine, but I would say not living in the land, but scattered among the Gentiles. So, no, first time? Okay. Well, welcome in. I must have seen you around somewhere else. So, if you've got questions, you've got other things, you're free to ask those, give your input here. We want to treat one another with respect, and DJs. Okay, that might be it. That might be it. I am over in several different DJs, and you listen to mostly music. Yeah, I like art and I like music. That's where I spend more time than I do in games. If I know you and I hang out with you, then I'm more hanging out with you than the game you're playing. If I'm in other streams. So, all right. So, the 12 tribes. Why the 12 tribes? Because it's to all of Israel. He is not being exclusive, but to all of the tribes. And when we had the day of Pentecost, we had all of the diaspora come back to the land to celebrate, and they are spread abroad. So he is writing to those who are Jewish, who are of the tribes of Israel, not to the Gentiles. Paul, which is a lot of what we have in the New Testament, is writing to Gentiles primarily. He's writing to Rome, which would be Romans, Galatia. He's writing to Philippi, a Roman territory, a retirement town for the military. So Paul is most often writing specifically to Greeks, and James here is writing not to them. Hey, Samarella, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, friend. My brothers and sisters, consider it nothing but joy when you fall into all sorts of trials. Okay. I just want to say this, I think, is one of those passages that you don't go and just like, hey, somebody's life is falling apart and you go, consider it nothing but joy. No. That's not how you use this passage. This is when I am in a state to be able to reflect on things, then we together, if we're going through something. I don't think this is, see, it says brothers and sisters, plural. So it's not just, oh, my life is falling apart. No, this is how we together as the people of God are being treated, how life is happening. I know that in the United States, a lot of people think that we are being persecuted if we follow Jesus. Frankly, we're not. There are people whose lives are under threat, whose families and livelihood and other places around the world, they're might be able to have their buildings, their business torn down and burned and things like that. That's trials there. We're not facing those. But he doesn't say it is joy. He says consider it joy. So in order to see something with a different light, I have to have a different perspective than the natural one that I would see. So if, I'm trying to think of, well, an example that would be an older example. I'm trying to think of a specific person, but, okay. It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey. If you don't know the movie, I'm not trying to ruin it for you. It's a great movie. George Bailey rescues his brother when he falls into the water as a kid in the middle of winter. He rescues him, and he ends up with a hearing problem and a bad ear, which means he does not get to go into military service because he has a bad ear. So that bad thing ends up being something that keeps him from fighting in war, which, then something bad could have happened there. So the bad thing could have kept you from something bad differently. Perspective's the only thing that changes that. Because there's lots of problems with having a bad ear, and they flush out at different places throughout the movie. Anyway, so I was just saying, considering it joy is an attitude. It's not a reality. It's not like, if you're arrested, consider it, then it means it's joyful. No, it's not joyful. But like Paul and Silas are singing in jail, they can consider it that way because they were faithful. And people reacted to their faithfulness of following Jesus. Okay, enough on that. Samuel, I don't know, Pastor. I remember talking in Ukulele Stream, and I blacked out. This has happened to him a lot lately. Ooh, Samarella. I don't know who to suggest you talk to about that. I don't know what is causing it. I would certainly talk to a doctor about that if you were able to. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I do find at times, I get to the end of the day and I'm watching whatever television show I might be watching, and then the next day or 2 days later, I turn it on to watch the next episode. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I totally forget, like, the last half hour of something I watched. But it's not blacking out, so yeah, I don't know if you can look into that, Samarella. I would be concerned, I think. I think it's just my fear of seeing, okay, and going back in your old self. Okay, so you think that would make some sense that your body is trying to protect you. Your mind is trying to protect you. But I still think I would look into seeing if there's something that could be done for it. Okay, so it is not joy when you're in trials, but you can consider it that way. Why? Because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its perfect effect. So trials test your faith. If you make it through the trial, then you persevere, you have endurance. That endurance will have a perfect effect so that you will be perfect and complete, not deficient in anything. So let's just take Paul and Silas in jail. They are able to endure and be perfected in their faith and be lacking nothing. Now, that doesn't sound like a good time to me, but James is talking about perspective here. But if anyone is deficient in wisdom, he should ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reprimand. Ooh, that's a nice translation. And it will be given him. So, pop, Taterhead. Good morning, babyface flat cap in chat. May everyone have a terrific Tuesday. Yeah, I gotta say, I don't know, the gray beard, I think, adds 20 years to my face. I mean, that's what I feel like. That's another reason my wife is like, no, get rid of that thing. You look old, man. And I don't want to be with an old man. So, Sam, if I get sick again, will you see me and support me the same, Pastor? Like, love me the same like you do now? Absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing you could do, Samarella, that's going to make me want to respond to you in a different way. Okay? You can believe what I believe. You can not believe what I believe. You can be sick. You can be healthy. You can have struggles. I'm still going to love you and embrace you and welcome you. That's just how I think everyone should be treated. So what I try to do. Where are we? I'm losing my spot. Oh, okay. So we have two different things going on here. We have testing of faith that we should consider a joy, a privilege, because it's going to produce something in us. However, if we lack wisdom, if we have a deficiency in it, that we just ask God. God will give us wisdom when we ask. He gives freely. He doesn't reprimand us for asking for something. I love that. God gives generously and without reprimand. So, like you're asking, what did Solomon ask for? Wisdom. Okay, so Solomon got wisdom. And then Solomon, in my estimation, didn't actually use the wisdom for himself. He didn't look around and say, you know what, it's not good to multiply wives. Oh, BT dubs, the Bible said don't do that. Oh, but I don't know, 500 wives, 700 concubines, whatever that number is, it's ridiculous. He was doing political alliances. You know what he didn't do? He didn't do any political alliances with the other tribes of Israel, which he should have done. Maybe the northern tribes wouldn't have split away if he'd have spent more time being concerned with the other tribes than the foreign nations. But anyway, if you need wisdom, God is willing to give that to you. Samarella, I had a question. Had that question and made you lose your... Oh, no, don't worry about me losing my spot. I do that all the time. And probably I'm going off topic, and off topic is fine. But lately I feel like people are going to hate me because of having fears and stuff because of how I am in the past. I think our minds are something that we don't fully grasp or understand and always have control of. Okay, I'll give you an example. Like, I've actually, let me just do this a minute. And Samarella, I love just stopping. Okay, so there is no, we have an agenda. We need to get through this. No, we're enjoying it, and it's about the conversation. It's about everybody that's here. So, I was thinking about one of the things that I really love about live streaming versus produced videos. In a produced video, I want my best take. I want it to be all polished, and I'm not going to share errors and mistakes or show breakdowns. It's not a thing. In a live stream, I watch lots of streamers who will suddenly, like, their life is falling apart behind the scenes, and it comes through on camera. Something's going on in their family, and they just share it. Someone talks about something and they are open and transparent. It's one of the things I love about live streaming. So Sunday, I was over in VR Church and doing some things, hanging out there, got done with it. I had a great time. I got done. And then suddenly I had something, some comment, some thought, and I couldn't get it out of my head. Okay, I couldn't stop the thought that I had. Often when I normally have this is when I'm going to bed, and my mind won't stop thinking about something. I had this on Saturday night, a conversation that happened, and then my mind, I'm replaying the conversation. I'm replaying the thoughts. So I realized on Sunday, my wife was not home, but I realized I need to go and see if my friend is around. He owns the brewery. So I walked down to the brewery so that I could go hang out with him because I needed someone to get my mind off of the circumstance and the situation that my mind was racing to and wanting to do that. And like online, it wasn't going to do that, at least with this situation. So yeah, we can't control our minds thinking about things. I'm coming up on the 5-year anniversary of my stepdad passing away. He has been on my mind a lot lately. In fact, last week, I had a dream that he was in. I don't dream about him very often, but I had a dream that he was in, and I can't control that. I had no say over that. He keeps coming to mind in the last month, and I'm like, oh, it's the 5-year anniversary. My mind is recalling those things, thinking about those things, and bringing them to mind. My mom will be here tomorrow if the weather holds and all of that, and it's probably really hard for her too, thinking about that. I'd have to go look at the date. The date is probably a week away because he passed away the week before Christmas. So it's probably really close this week to the day that he went in the hospital, and he was in the hospital for a week and then passed away. But I don't have control over those memories coming and flooding my mind, overfilling my emotions, coming in from the past and flooding in. I can't. And if I suppress them and cast them aside and overpower them and overwhelm them, then my body is going to manifest itself in strange ways and in other things of things that will be, my body will carry that in me. I mean, I don't know how else to describe that. Like, I might have a foot pain or a back pain or something like that. I know I mean, there's probably a better scientific way of describing that, but our body will know that. Our minds will know that. It needs to do something with it. Now, I think there are mental health professionals who can really help with those kinds of things. And if you go to one, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, Samarella, it's really scary seeing myself in the hospital and be all alone with no one at my side again and hearing things I heard from people. I do not know what that's like, Samarella. I am sorry. And yeah, I could see where you don't want to have memories of the past. I don't want to, in some ways, think about that he's gone, because then it's going to make me sad. I don't want to be sad as we come up to Christmas, but there's a part that I'm going to let myself, as long as my mind doesn't get carried away with things and dwell on things and be consumed by things, I'm probably going to be okay. Like I said, I needed to go be with a friend. I knew what I needed at that time. We don't always know what we need, and sometimes we need other people. So, Samarella, yeah, if you're dealing with those things, you know that you are always welcome to share. It's up to you how much you share. I am very thankful that you feel safe here to share any of those things. If anyone in my chat is going to come down on you or say harsh things to you because you're sharing, that's not welcome here. They'll get a warning if I'm feeling generous. That's one of those things like treatment of other people. Bullying is not going to happen. Anything else, I'm pretty open to whatever you're doing in life, whatever's going on in your life, sharing and being open and transparent. And embracing and loving each other as that happens is what my standards are. So, Samuel, I want to change myself and be a different person and not go back, but sometimes I feel like I might. Yeah. Well, and too, Samarilla, this was true for me. So I moved to another state to go to school in seminary, and that's, becoming a pastor. If you don't know the name seminary, that's just the school specific for becoming a pastor. But every time I came home to where I grew up, I felt like I was a different person, like I was getting stuck in old mindset and old patterns and old habits, like oh, I want to go hang out with my buddies and I want to go do this and I want to do this. Like, why does being, or, when we would stay, and my wife would say this too, we'd stay at our parents' house over the holidays where we didn't live and hadn't lived. And suddenly we felt like we were reverting in our minds back to being a kid growing up in that house. Like the physical setting would play with our minds to help us, well, not help us, but make us revert back to a more immature person, if that makes sense. I'm scared of sharing things over on. Oh, well, that's fine. Yep, Samarella, I'm simply saying, when you do feel safe and you do feel the need to, feel protected here, and know that I'm going to work hard to protect you if you choose to, because I think that's a really, really terrific thing to do. And I'm glad that you are aware to not try to do too much, because you certainly want to protect yourself. And if you feel that sense that someone might attack you, then it's good to protect yourself. You're also welcome to share in the Discord too, which is going to be a little bit more private than sharing in the chat is going to be. There's going to be less people coming across that and seeing it. So anyway, Samarella, I appreciate you. I thank you for being here, for hanging out. Okay, so, and I think we all deal with that. Some of us are just more aware of it. Some of us are just more honest about it. And some of us try to hide it. Okay. Okay, here is, I think, a verse that really, really got taken out of context when I was a kid. But he must ask in faith without doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed around by the wind. So, I got told as a kid that if I pray once, then I believe it. If I pray twice, I doubt it. That was what I was taught as a kid. If you pray second time, you doubt it, because here, if you pray without doubting, so you've got to pray with faith, and if you pray twice, it must mean you doubt it. That's not in the Bible. It's not in the Bible. In fact, Jesus says, it gives examples of the persistent widow who persists in it, and we are to pray always and pray repeatedly, and Jesus also did that. He went away 3 times and prayed the same thing. So we can take things and misapply them very easily. So, Artsy Bible Nerd, welcome in. Samarella, I was so stubborn to not move from your old place because that's the only thing I have as a reminder of my mom other than the ring she gave me, but it went all against me when the abuse started. Yeah. All I can keep telling to convince myself is that it's my fault. Well, it's not your fault. If abuse happens to you, it's not your fault. I just don't believe that. I mean, I'm not saying you don't feel that, okay? But what I'm saying is, when I was a kid, and I was the shortest kid, and bullies would try to beat me up after school, I didn't do anything to deserve it. It was not my fault that bullies tried to beat me up because I was shorter than them and they could pick on me. And then I was trying to turn the other cheek. Finally, I didn't turn the other cheek, and they left me alone. So, the having faith without doubting, I think this is a really misapplied verse. Let's go look up the words there in the Hebrew a minute, or in the Greek, I mean. Faith without doubting. Let's see what that is. So, oops, I need to put one? I guess not. In faith, pistos, nothing wavering. Medice?
Strong's G 3367. Medice.
Okay. So, nobody, no one, nothing. So,
Strong's G.
Diacrino?
1252.
Diacrino.
Diacrino.
Without doubt, without judge. Ooh, without judging. Without, to discern, to contend, to waver. To separate, make a distinction, discriminate, to prefer. To learn by discrimination. To determine, to give judgment, decision, dispute. To withdraw with one, to desert, to separate oneself in a hostile spirit, striving with dispute. To be at variance with oneself, hesitating, doubting. Okay. So, I'm thinking that the without doubting is not, I mean, it's like to be at opposition with yourself, okay? So if you're deficient in wisdom, ask of God who gives generously and without reprimand, and it will be given you. But you must ask in faith without doubting. And I think this is doubting that, not that God can give it, but maybe that's what you need. Like you're not certain of what you need. You must be certain of what you, I don't know if that's it. I'm just trying to look at that. Being at odds with. So in some way, there's a piece that's at odds with your faith. And that's why I think they're translating as a doubts. But what if it's not at odds with the faith, but at odds with the wisdom that you are asking for? What if it's doubting you're worthy of it? Not that you don't believe God can give it, but that God would give it to you. I'm wondering if that's the nuance there. I don't know. Greek it sometimes has a lot of different variations, and that's, I don't know, just interesting how that can be translated. Okay. For the one who doubts is like a wave in the sea, blown and tossed around by the wind. Okay, so this is, I know it's taking doubts, and I think going in several different directions there. But the wind is blowing it. You're tossed around like I think it's uncertainty. I think that's what you have. You need to be asking with certainty that this is it. Not with, do I need it? Do I not need it? Do I want it? Do I not want it? I think that's it, because you're tossed about. Like, this is what I need. No, that's what I need. No, I need something else. Maybe that's more what it is with the certainty of the wisdom that you want. That might be it. For the person who does not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord, since he is double-minded individual, unstable in all his ways. So here it sounds like you don't think you're going to get it, or you don't deserve. I don't know. Anyway, I think this passage has been more abused than helpful. Samarilla, I caused it though. You have no idea how many times I got told I'm the one asked for it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I keep blaming myself for things that happen to me. Sorry. Well, you know what? It's a learned thing that you need. That if you are told that you are the cause of something, that's what you hear. Your mind is going to believe it. Okay? Yeah. And so it's going to take work to change that mindset. I'll give a different example than would be totally what's going on in your life. I'm certain of. My daughter is a dentist, a doctor, a medical doctor. I mean, not an MD, but she is a DDS. So that is still in medicine. She is a doctor of dental, I don't know if it's surgery, whatever it is, the S. So she is a doctor. Constantly, when she would talk to people and say she was in school to be a dentist, because she was female, they would go, "Oh, you're going to be a hygienist." And she's like, "No, I said dentist. I did not say hygienist. I am not." I mean, so because of gender, she would get told that again and again and again by people who didn't listen to what she said. that has played on her confidence in some level of her skills and ability as a dentist, doubting whether she should or shouldn't be there, doubting her capabilities because people kept thinking, oh, you're going to be a hygienist instead of a dentist. She is still trying to fight that mentality that oh, well, you're a woman, you can't be. Problem is, in reality, I probably know more women who are dentists than are men, so I don't understand that mindset at all. But anyway, she ran into it, and it was detrimental in some ways, and still a struggle. So, yeah, what other people do and put on us is hard to deal with and recover from. Mel, Samarella, being told many times makes it seem like it's truth, but this is not always the case. Yeah. Sam, whenever he gets mad and have a bad day, it's always my fault because I'm there in his life and tried so much to help him understand, but I got blamed for it too. Yeah. People that blame others for what's going on doesn't make it true. But yeah, our minds are going to hear that. They're going to believe that. So, well, we hope that at least the amount of time you can spend with us this morning, today, is going to put that away, put it aside for a while, and that you start to believe that you have value, you have worth, you are wanted, and we're glad you're here. And that might carry you through the rest of the day and help overcome all of the memories that come in. Okay. Now, the believer of humble means should take pride in his high position, but the rich person's pride should be in his humiliation because he has passed away like a wildflower in the meadow. The sun rises with its heat and dries up the meadow. The petal of the flower falls off, and its beauty is lost forever. So also the rich person in the midst of his pursuits will wither away. Happy is the one who endures testing, because when he has proven to be genuine, he will receive the crown of life from God, promised to those who love him. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted by evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each one is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desires. Okay, we've got a couple of different things there. We've got those who are of low status, who are elevated, should take pride in what they accomplish. But those who are rich should not take pride in their wealth, but in giving it away. I think that's what the idea there is. And then when we have trials and we endure, then we prove our faith to be genuine. And don't talk about God as being the tempter. Don't put blame on God for what goes on. We are tempted by our own desires. And that word desire, I wonder if, I'm going to guess it might be the word that the Septuagint would use for Cain, that sin is crouching at the door and its desire is for you. I'm going to think that's what it is. Samuel, I went very much, and I don't know why I feel like talking about it. It's only going to bother people. It's not going to bother us. We're fine talking about it with you. We just want to be help to you as much as we can. Yeah, if it's going to help you, yeah. And it makes me ask if I'm selfish. You know, I think we overplay sometimes the idea of being selfish. If what I need to protect myself from someone else is a restraining order or to report them to the authorities, I'm not being selfish. I don't know how we can see that as selfish. I'm not saying that you're in that situation, but I'm just saying an extreme of that, well, that we might say, or as a pastor, I am a mandatory reporter for if something was child abuse going on. Well, you will get told in circumstances like that you're going to ruin a family. And you should lovingly not split up a family. Well, no, that is abuse, and that is not loving to not intervene when it's happening. I happen to have in the past a situation where father was going after his son, and the son was climbing out the window onto a deck, the roof, to try to escape from dad. Dad punched him, knocked him off the roof, and knocked his teeth out. That's assault and battery. And I reported it. No. Beating up, physical violence. I mean, I know emotional violence is a thing too, and that's a lot harder to identify and have the authorities do something with. But when it becomes physical, there's no question about it needs to not be there. Yeah, exactly, Mel. It's not a bother. I know for me, it also helps me talk to a therapist. Like, it's their job to listen, but having friends to vent to is helpful too. Yeah. Well, and people who are going to care and not judge. Like, I'm going to listen. Just because you're willing to talk or willing to share. Hey! Conspiracy Guru! Thanks for the follow, friend. Appreciate it. Good. The alerts are working today. They weren't yesterday. Now they're working. We're good. Okay, so this design, and I love this description here. So if you want to think about how sin comes in to entice a person, I think this is one of the best descriptions of how this happens. Okay. So one is tempted, is lured, enticed by their own desires. Then when desire conceives, it gives birth to sin. And when sin is fully grown, it gives birth to death. Do not be led astray, my dear brothers and sisters. All generous giving and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation and the slightest hint of change. By his sovereign plan, he gave us birth through the message of truth, and we would be a kind of first fruits of all he created. So James, again, is writing to Jewish believers who are following Jesus, who are the first fruits of the new covenant. They are the first ones. They have come in, and so everything we have is a gift from the Father above. I love the coming down from the Father of lights. Every good and perfect gift comes down from above. But if we go back to this whole kind of thing, like, think about most things that you do. You might think about, I wonder what it would be like to do that. And then you think about how you would do it. And then you decide to go and do it. And then you decide you need to keep doing it. Like, there's this progression of things that leads you down a path to doing that. So I'll just pick on the shooting that happened in New York with the healthcare CEO. He was in New York for 10 days ahead of time. He planned a route to go in and out, at least from our best understanding of what happened. He had an escape route planned out. Okay, so that was a desire within him that was conceived. It gave birth to the plan that he carried out, and then it was full grown when he carried it out, and that has given birth to death penalty for what he has done. Now, I'm not judging the whole situation. I'm not going through the court case. I'm just saying, as far as facts we know in relationship to the actions that were taken, and I don't even know if they caught the right guy or not. It looks like they might have caught the right guy. I'm going to leave that up to the authorities, figuring all of that out. But I'm just saying that whole process is there was a desire, it was conceived, it gave birth to the plan was executed, That's the whole way of describing sin in our lives. Now, maybe it doesn't take as long as that. Sometimes it's just you're in the store, you're a kid, you want a pack of gum, and you're like, I bet I could sneak this pack of gum out because I don't have money, and if I ask Mom will say no, so I'm just going to take it, see if what happens. And you get caught. All right, so, there you got caught, it was all that. But in comparison to our desires, here's the thing I think we need to think of. Desires lead towards death, but good and perfect gifts come from God. So which are we focusing on? Which are we focusing on? They're in contrast to each other. The good and perfect gifts that come down and the desires that lead to death. They are in contrast with one another. Okay. Who dropped the... it was Artsy dropped a passage in there. Okay. But know this, that the last days difficult times will come, for men will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving. Ooh, that's definitely going on. Irreconcilable, malicious, definitely a thing going on. Gossips, yep. Without self-control, bingo. Without gentleness, Without love for good, you betcha. Treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Boom. Yep. You want to throw, like my brain just wants to go, let's talk about social media for a minute. How could we describe it? Look, we've got post person's video here. Lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, blasphemers. Yeah, there's a list of social media people. Having a form of godliness, but denying its power, turn away from such as these. Archie, thank you for that verse. I can relate to most of it. Yeah, and we get surrounded by that so easily. It's so easy. Yeah, that verse makes you think of an abusive situation? Totally. Because you're talking, okay, if you were talking about feeling selfish, I think what it's doing here, men will be lovers of self, okay? What is a lover of self? A lover of self is a lover of money. A lover of self is someone who's boastful. A lover of self is someone who's arrogant. So don't take lover of self as one in the list. I think it is a lover of self is what people will become. And let me show you what lovers of self are. They're lovers of money. They're boastful. They're arrogant. They're blasphemers. They're disobedient to parents. They're ungrateful. They're unholy. They're unloving. Those are all ways to describe lovers of self. They're gossips. They're without self-control. They're without gentleness. So they're without love for good. They're treacherous. They're reckless. They're conceited. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. So we don't always get where it explains to us and has the markings like we might do. Lovers of self, and then here's the list of all those things. Or parentheses, here's all those things. They didn't have those punctuations to mark it off. But I think sometimes that's how we see it. The first thing in the list is then explained by everything else in the list. Not always, but in this case, I think we could look at it that way. Archie, that was a good verse, man. That was a good verse. You just want to cry to someone. You are. Then that's probably a beneficial thing if you do. And I would love to be a shoulder to cry on. I don't know how to do that virtually in reality of the physical touch aspects of the benefits of having a shoulder to cry on. I don't know how to physically do that in digital space, but metaphorically, we are here to be the shoulder to cry on for you, Sam Morella. Okay, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. Let every person be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. Boom. You know what? All those other ones that we want to do up here above, here's the one we need to dwell on. Quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. I have so had to work to learn this, to be able to do this. Uh, it's not my natural inclination to be quick to listen. It's to be quick to speak. And I used to be quick to anger. I think I probably have gotten that under control. The one place, and it doesn't happen often, and it probably won't happen as much now that my kids are adults. But yeah, come against my kids, you'll find Papa Bear. Okay, that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, you come against me, I'm all good. I'm chill. I'm relaxed. I'm gonna let it roll off my back. You come against my kids, woo! You asking for trouble. So, we often had to, my wife and I had to have the agreement that if there was a situation with school and otherwise that needed taken care of, and I was angry, it was tag team out because I'm not gonna be the right parent to handle that circumstance. So we had to learn that. Mel, your last therapist indirectly blamed me for things. My mental disorder is because I have it in my head. Oh, I'm so sorry. Samarella, my daughter probably went to 6 or 7 therapists before she was able to find a therapist that was helpful for her. So hopefully you can find a therapist who is more concerned with helping you than anything else. I did, but all I do is cry and not able to completely be open to them. And you're probably experiencing the ramifications of a bad therapist and just not trusting fully that if you're 100% honest that this therapist won't turn and change. I wouldn't doubt that that's part of it too. But I'm glad you found someone and you're getting some help in that regards. There is no shame in going to a therapist. If I'm sick, I go to a doctor, right? If I'm injured, I go to the emergency room. What's really cool is it's not local, but it's it's nearby. We now have ER mental health facility. I think that's so cool. So if an emergency situation, you can go in for mental health. I think it's pretty cool. Samarella, I'm not able to fully open up about my mental disorder to anyone over online because I'm scared of being judged. Yeah. And I think protecting yourself is a good thing too. So, yeah, in time, maybe that will happen with some people. Okay, let's see if we can finish this chapter before the ad break. And I'm all good with, hey, no one ever feel bad about us not getting through our passage, because I go off on side tangents just as much as anyone else. And if you've got something going on in life, that is the most important thing for us to be talking about in the moment. Okay. So we need to be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. For human anger does not accomplish God's righteousness. Boom. Mic drop. Human anger does not accomplish... I need that on a t-shirt. T-shirt. For human anger does not accomplish God's righteousness. You know what I think of when I hear human anger? People picketing abortion clinics. That's what and I'm not saying that their opinion about life and death and when it starts isn't their own and it shouldn't be a good thing. Or they shouldn't be allowed to do that. I'm saying their actions of hate and anger are not accomplishing righteousness. Oh, there we see. I'm not, it's not like I'm a shame passer, but I'm getting told that if I really enjoyed my sexual abuse, being raped secretly, and didn't realize it might be the start of a problem, it's not true. I really didn't ask for it to happen. What a horrible, I'm sorry. Like, no. Well, Okay. Here is a bad, and this is not directly the same, but it falls in line with our bad cultural expectations of things. We have a mindset that says within a relationship where consent has already taken place, that a person can't change their mind about consent. So if I consent and then we get partway through whatever activity we're doing and I say, no, I do not consent any further, that we don't think a person has the right to pull consent back. You do. You do. We think that, within a husband and a wife, there can't be a need for consent. No, there still needs to be a need for consent within it, but we don't treat it that way. So, yeah, anytime when abuse is happening, like, you might tell yourself that, or maybe a different way to say this is, if someone is abusing you and your body is responding in a natural physical state, there you have problems in some level because your mind and body might be in disagreement about the circumstance that's happening. And so I'm sorry if that is the way that it's been viewed or treated. No, if something happened to you and it was abuse, and even if you didn't view it at the time as abuse and you do later, you have better judgment about your circumstance because of the outcome of it. So I'll go in a slightly different direction about things. I think that a lot of my eating problems that I had over the years come from when I was a kid and the mentality of clean your plate. I mean, there really weren't often times where I wasn't going to clean my plate, but that was part of it. Also, if you went to a buffet, you better get your money's worth. You better go back up. You better have more. You better have seconds and thirds because I paid good money for this food. Or you go to a restaurant, you better not throw that away because we paid good money for that food. That led to a lot of problems I didn't see, I didn't know, I didn't understand until way later. So, yeah, I couldn't judge that at the time as being a bad thing. I can now. So, I don't know if that relates in a different way. I tried to go off topic so that I can show you there is truth in being able to judge things later as good and bad and not having to have made the right judgment in the moment. When I was first diagnosed, I felt like nothing is helping me. Then I had the right diagnosis and got told things that made me suicidal. And this coming from a therapist made me lose all the hope. But I was able to find a right one that helped me so much. I'm living because of them. I'm so thankful for that, Samarella. Again, I'm sorry if I say things are triggering to someone, but I just wanted to let everything go. Yeah. And you know what? I did not understand for a long time how things could be triggering to people. I have experienced that in the last couple of years, and so I appreciate your concern of if something is triggering, that you don't want that to trigger others. I appreciate that sentiment, Samarella, and yeah, I think that's just a good attitude to have. Like when you're trying to deal with yourself, you don't want it to be harmful to anyone else. I don't think anything you did or said was, but it's up to that person to know. So I don't think anyone was thinking anything other than we want to just love you. But if they were, they're going to appreciate your desire not to cause harm. I just so appreciate Samarella openness, and I hope that hanging out here does ease your mind in some ways and help you to express things so that it isn't all consuming for you. And playing off our text, human anger doesn't accomplish righteousness, nor does judgment of people. Me judging anybody doesn't help accomplish righteousness. What? Uncle Daddy with the biddies. Welcome in, friend. 5,200. 5,200 biddies. You the man. Lucis, welcome in. Okay. Let's keep going. We're almost done with this chapter. So put away all filth and evil excess and humbly welcome the message implanted with you. I love how you have to put it away. You have to put away the filth and evil excess. What is the filth and evil excess? We had the list up above. Those are the things. The selfishness we listed above, the filth and the evil excess. I think that's what we had up above. And it said, humbly welcome the message implanted within you, which is able to save your souls. But be sure to live out the message and do not merely listen to it and so deceive yourself. So, yeah, just listening doesn't change you. Actually doing is what changes. For if, if someone merely listens to the message and does not live it out, he is like someone who gazes at his face in a mirror, for he gazes at himself and then goes out and immediately forgets what sort of person he was. But the one who peers into the perfect law of liberty fixes his attention there and does not become a forgetful listener, but one who lives it out. He will be blessed in what he does. If, if someone thinks he is religious, but does not bridle his tongue, and so deceives his heart, his religion is futile. I want to go back to that. Pure and undefiled religion before God the Father is this. Okay, let's just go back to that. Okay, let me get caught up on chat if there's anything other than hellos and exchanging pleasantries and cookies. That's all we had there. Okay. If someone thinks he is religious, yet does not bridle his tongue, and so deceives his heart, his religion is futile. Why would I need to bridle my tongue? Because I'm condemning other people. I am practicing these things up here that we said we should not do. Where was that at? Where was the self? Oh, I know we had that. Where is it? Oh, okay. I know we had it. Where was it? I hate when I can't find what I'm looking for. Lucis redeemed prayer time. Absolutely. Anyway, we had that whole list of being selfish, conceited, arrogant, boastful, and then here at the end, if anyone thinks is religious. So I go through all the motions, I do all the right things, but I treat people with blah. Oh no, your daughter seems to have pink eye. Absolutely, let's pray for your daughter. So this is how we know the fruit of what you are doing. I still wish I could find it. Where was the gossip up here? I know it was up here. We read it just a minute ago. I cannot find it. So, okay, we also want to be not merely listeners, but also doers. So I just want to throw this thought in there. So if I have a weather warning, a tsunami is coming, or a hurricane is coming, and I go, oh, that's great news, or that's horrible news, however I respond to it, and I listen to it, and I do nothing. Listening to the warning did nothing. So if I want to do something in regards to it, I need to run for the hills, especially a tsunami's coming and I'm on the beach. I need to run for the hills. You know, yeah, I know you got a tsunami warning last week, Mel. You had shared that. I was like, whoa. Yeah, if I just listen to it and I'm a hearer of the warning only, and I'm like, I'll be saved because I know that the tsunami's coming, so it can't hurt me. That doesn't work. So you have to put into practice the things that you have. If you're not putting into practice, you haven't really heard. That's part of what he's saying. Okay. Okay. And she, wait. What did I miss there? Okay, so your daughter has pink eye, Lucis. We'll pray for that. Stroop waffles being passed around. Samarilla, one thing that always scared me coming to new places is just the judgment and being told just seek a professional online isn't the place for it. I'm really not trying to trauma dump here, but just want to talk. Just someone to talk to. Well, and that's what we're doing. We are fine, and we don't feel like you're trauma dumping. You're not, like, to me, trauma dumping is going through all the details of everything without asking, without connection to people. We're listening to your processing of things. So that to me is totally different than you just posted a 2-page blah. Oh, ad start. We got to pause that. Oh, no, I used to get that every year as a kid. Not fun. Yeah. Oh, and strep throat. Okay, there's where the strep throat came in. You were just saying you got pink eye and strep throat. Okay. Yeah, not happy about going to school today? Okay. Mel, I didn't run for the hills, but I was inland already, so I didn't run from the coast. Yeah. But I don't know if you've ever seen, like, the tsunami that happened, I want to say, back in, is it 2006? 2005, 2006? I'm trying to remember. I think it was 2006, around Christmas. There are people on the beach, and the water went out, and they had no warning, and they were just walking out onto the beach. The water disappeared, and it's like, no, all the animals left. The animals knew what was happening, and the people stayed, and it wasn't good. Oh, Sam Morella, I totally appreciate. Yes, you don't want to. I understand that. I was simply saying is I didn't feel like you were trauma dumping is what I was trying to say. I was trying to make a distinction on what I think that is versus what you were doing. Okay. Let's pray for Luce's daughter. God, we're just lifting up Luce's daughter who has pink eye, has to stay home. We pray for that to heal rapidly, to clear up, for her to have her eye restored fully to health. We pray for her not to do the things we're told not to do, of touching it, rubbing it, and then infecting our other eye, and doing all those things of proper hand washing and doing those things, caring for herself. And we pray for patience for Luce's caring for her daughter and having her home. God, just bring healing and restoration so that she might return back to school and be fully restored. Be with the family in the middle of this, all the anxiety, all of the stress that it may cause, all the disruptions in life. May your peace and presence be made known there. God, we pray this and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Samarilla, I'm going to go try and grab something to eat, Pastor. Not sure if I'll even be able to eat, but I'm going to try. Yeah, sounds good. And if you're just lurking and listening, appreciate it. If you come back and you jump in the conversation, love to have you here, Samarilla. Appreciate you, friend. Okay, so back to our text, which I think just applies to Samarilla in some ways of how people, treat people that come in is, oh, is this not the place? No. How do I treat people? How do I love on people? Pure and undefiled religion before God is this: to care for the orphans and the widows in their adversity and keep oneself unstained from the world. So if you remember, when we go through the Old Testament, there is the poor, the widow, the orphan, and the foreigner. Okay, are the four groups of people. So I think the foreigner is excluded from this conversation here because the Romans are the occupying force, and he's writing to disperse people, so they are the foreigners. So they don't get included in that. And the poor could be assumed in there because you have the widow and the orphan, and in their adversity, let's see what the footnote says on the adversity, if there's something there. Traditionally, affliction. Okay. It's the circumstances, which would likely be influenced by poverty and other life circumstances. So, caring for people who are in adversity, whether they are orphans, and orphans being actual orphans with dead parents or orphans of no family to help. Okay? No family to help them. Widows, no family to assist them. Okay, I think that's the key there. The foreigner and the poor also would fall into that camp. So those people with no resources and no one to assist, you're to care for them. That's how you're to care for them. So if we want to look at people who have experienced any of the things that he said up above that we should not do, if we are listeners only and we don't act, we deceive ourselves. If we don't bridle our tongue, if we just, speak harsh things, evil things, excess, and it's, whew. James lays it out there hard. All right, we got ad break coming in. Let's check out Fish for a wee bit here. And again, the new computer, I'm having problems connecting one of the cameras on the new computer. It's saying I got the wrong password. I know it's the right password, but I think I've got to take and, re-enter the password or something.
Dapper man with Saxon hand.
Looks like a lot of waves there today. Let me see. Should I go ahead and put the
acoustic guitar in the breeze?
Sound on.
Serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat Cat Pastor shows the way. Stream it live, come what may. With his cam he shows it all. Little fish both big and small. Life in pond so serene. Nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow. Hear the music.
Yeah, it's a good book to take time with. Absolutely.
Flat Cap's charm and calming tone makes the fish feel right at home. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm of his song. Flat Cat Pastor shows the way. Stream it live, come what may. Refuse cam, he shows it all. Little fish, both big and small. Life in pond so serene. Nature's beauty on a screen. See the ripples, watch the flow. Hear the music, gentle glow. Flat Cap's charm, calming tone makes the
All right, I'm gonna
fish
turn
feel right at home.
the noise off, if you will.
Watch
The waves
fish,
kind of
they swim along
a little windy on the
to
mic,
rhythm
but
of his
otherwise
song.
it's nice listening to the waves.
Flat Cat Pastor shows the way. Stream
You
it
like
live,
this
come
view? I
what
can
may.
focus on one. That one doesn't seem like the best one to focus on. The camera lens needs clean. This one looks like it needs clean too. I'm going to have to think about cleaning that one. We'll go back to the guppies. There we go. I'm going to go check on that tank a second. I didn't go look at it. Let's make sure they got food. I was going to feed them, but they still had food floating. So interesting. One tank that I checked still had a lot of food floating, so I assumed that the other tanks would have as well, but no. The other tanks were quite empty. So, oh, and if you see, I do have one koi. It looks like in there. There might be more than one, but I can see one koi there in with the guppies. It was so small, I decided to put it in with the guppies because I didn't want it to not get enough food with the other bigger koi eating all of the food. So there we go. You can see it floating around there. Okay. Oh, you know what? I clicked on main and then I didn't. I'm looking at whatever. Here's the fish again. That's what I was saying. Looking at that, and I'd already switched it back. Because I have it on my screen so I could see it. Oh, that's so funny. This is what happens when I've got one screen instead of multi-screens. I don't have two screens on my new computer. I just have the second screen from my old setup with the laptop. So, okay. I do have a hard out at 10 o'clock today because I've got a meeting. So we've got about an hour to see how far we can get in, James. My brothers and sisters, do not show prejudice. If you possess faith in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ. For if someone comes into your assembly wearing a gold ring and fine clothing, and a poor person enters in filthy clothing, do not pay attention to the one who is finely dressed and say, "You sit here in a good place," and to the poor person, "You sit over there," or "Sit on the floor." If if so, have you not made distinctions among yourself and become judges with evil motives? Listen, my brothers and sisters, God did not choose the poor in the world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom that he promised to those who love him. Oh, so did not God choose? Okay, so not God did not choose. I think I said that wrong. So it's a rhetorical. Did not God choose the poor? Do you have, but you have dishonored the poor. Are not the rich oppressing you and dragging you into courts? Do they not blaspheme the good name of the one you belong to? So, you're treating the rich and wealthy based on what they can give you, based on how they can influence things. Woo! Yeah, I read that wrong, huh? So did not God choose the poor of the world to be rich in faith? So you are poor in money, but rich in faith. And you are heirs of the kingdom that he has promised to those who love him. So all you have to do is love God. Doesn't matter your status or your stature or your wealth. Oh, and you want to know what really is happening with the rich? Who you are giving favoritism and special treatment to, they drag you into court because they're going to exploit you. Do not blaspheme the good name of the one you belong to. But if, if you fulfill the royal law as expressed in this scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You are doing well. But if, you show prejudice, you are committing sin and are convicted by the law as violators. Okay, love your neighbor as yourself. Pretty good passage. I'm watching. In that case, I should be Paul too, because all the mess in my life. I hear people, and maybe you've not run into this, talk about, we talk about the do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, which, love your neighbor as yourself. Different way of saying it. Yeah, and if you don't love yourself. What if you don't love yourself? Okay. I think we have a different concept of self-esteem that I don't think that's what Scripture is talking about here. And yes, there certainly are going to be exceptions of people who are not happy, satisfied. It's not talking about that kind of, let's go look up which love it is. I'm going to assume it is agape, but I could be wrong. James 2. What verse are we in? 8. Oops. The royal law, according to the scriptures, thou shalt love. Agapao. Yeah, so it's self-sacrificial love. Self-love, yes. So I am hungry, I get something to eat and drink. Okay? That would be some form of self-love. I am cold, I put on something to clothe myself with. I need new clothing, I go out and I work and accomplish and sacrifice in order to be able to get. I sacrifice my time and my abilities to get something I need. So I think in some ways that's what I think self-care might be a good example here, but also if I go in another direction, and I shouldn't say every single hat, but just by way of saying, let's assume I purchased every hat. I didn't purchase every hat, but let's just assume every hat there I purchased. That means I love myself enough to give myself another hat. I took money that I had and I purchased a hat for myself. I sacrificed in order to be able to have the thing I wanted. So then how we treat others should be in the same kind of self-sacrificial way. I don't think this is self-esteem kind of idea. What is my opinion of myself? What is my viewpoint of myself? It is how I'm going to care for, and then we go into selfishness of when I'm all-consuming, and no, I can't spare any money for the Salvation Army bucket because I'm saving up for a hat and I got to get a new hat. Now I become selfish. So we need to love our neighbors as ourselves, which means if I see you without a hat, I'm willing to buy you a hat with no thought of you ever repaying me for a hat I buy you. That's a self-sacrificing for a neighbor as self. Now maybe you're like, I don't want a flat cap. Then I don't buy you a flat cap because you don't want a flat cap. I buy you a fedora because that's what you want. I buy you a stocking cap because it's cold. Okay? I give and I sacrifice for someone else based on what they need, and that is the way of doing well. That is the way of you do well if you do that. I'm watching. How does that work for caring for others, for individuals who easily get overwhelmed with others' problems like empathy overload? Ooh. I think on some level there is self-care that needs to happen so that you don't get overloaded with other people's stuff. For instance, in order to fully love the person, I can't be overwhelmed with their stuff. So in some times, for me to fully give to you, I need to say no to you or to other people. To fully be loving, because if I get overwhelmed, I can't actually be giving you love. I can't actually be giving you what you need, because now I've become burdened in some way. So I think in loving others, I also need to know my limitations. I need to not abuse and burn out myself by serving others, because then I am of no use to other people. I am of no benefit to them. If I'll use a different example. I know you were talking about like empathy overload, but let's just take a different way. What if I just have physical exhaustion because I work constantly doing things for other people and I never take time to rest and relax, and I don't recover, and I get 4 hours of sleep a night, and then I am working and giving and doing things to do for everyone else, and I get sick, and I'm in the hospital, and that did no good to anyone else by overworking. I would say it would be the same thing with empathy, with mental health, with any other capacity of you as being a full person. If it interferes and it gets in the way, then it isn't self-care, and you need to self-care in order to care for others. Does that make sense? I'm watching. I hope that makes sense. But if you sow prejudice, you are committing sin and are convicted by the law as violators. So prejudice. I am going to treat you based on something about you that I view as better than someone else. Here, he's talking specifically about rich and poor and how we treat people based on that criteria. I think it can apply to other places, but I'll pick on this for a minute. I think that there is a practice that the church may have adopted from the world of putting nameplates on people that donate something. I've seen this on lots of places. Like, oh, if you give a donation, we'll put your name on a placard on something. So then I've seen this happen with a pulpit or a piano that was given 50 years ago, and someone's name is on it to honor that person and the gift that was given 50 years ago, and the piano or the pulpit needs replaced, and we can't get rid of it because it was given by that person, and that will be demeaning the person and the gift that was given. And we are now, honoring the rich for what they gave, and not honoring the people who are present with replacing something that needs replaced. Instead, we are honoring a rich person who gave. I've seen it in churches. I've seen it in other places too. I'm watching. Yeah, it's a hard thing for me to explain to others. When I stream, I'm trying to be fully available to God to use me to bless others. It's usually through laughter and family-friendly distraction. Excuse me. Ooh. But it's hard to explain to others that I just can't stay of certain subjects that overwhelm me or trigger me. I have issues with depression and anxiety still. I totally get that. Yes, your point made sense. Thank you. Absolutely. Stay in certain subjects. Okay, that's what I thought you meant. Yeah, if you're talking about a topic, the topic itself can overwhelm you. Totally get that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? If people don't understand that, then they need to learn that. They need to learn that. I'm just trying to think if I'm sure there are topics that I don't want to dwell on or think about or have conversations about. I'll say in the past, I would have not wanted to have conversations around divorce. I would have, no, we don't need that. Let's move on. Like when I was a kid, I just hated the topic of it. I didn't want to talk about it. I had a lot of hurt and pain from my parents going through that, and then treatment of them from the church and the like. That I just didn't like the topic. The topic would bring up the pain. Totally get that. That makes total sense. I don't know why people wouldn't understand that. maybe it's just selfishness that they want to talk about what they want to talk about because they're trying to deal with it instead of realizing that they can be triggering and harming others. I think that's such a, I don't know, a good thing to know and understand. I'm watching. I'm constantly asking God to make it clear to me if I'm being selfish or dismissive or rude. It's hard to know the boundaries to draw while also trying to be the light. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think sometimes it is our attitudes that make it selfish, dismissive, or rude. And sometimes perception of the person receiving it makes it dismissive or rude. If that makes sense. This is a great conversation that's just sidelining with the text today. This is pretty cool. For the one who obeys the whole law but fails in one point becomes guilty of all of it. For he who said, do not commit adultery, also said, do not murder. Now, if you do not commit adultery, but you do commit murder, have you not become a violator of the law? Speak and act as those who will be judged by the law that gives freedom. For judgment is merciless for the one who has shown no mercy, but mercy triumphs over judgment. Boom. There's another t-shirt. But mercy triumphs over judgment. Okay, so when I judge you based on your wealth, yeah, mic drop. If I judge you based on wealth and treat you based on what privilege I can get from you, I'm judging between you. I become a violator of the law. We understand that if I become a murderer, I'm a law violator. If I become an adulterer, I'm a law violator. You know what? Being prejudiced, judgmental, is also a law violator. I am judging people. I am violating the law. I am not showing mercy, and mercy triumphs over judgment. The judgment I have of you as a person, of your worth. Man, I think that's one of the biggest things that I try not to do is judge people's worth. And someone's abilities to do something is not their worth. They're being created by God is the totality of their worth. Okay? Every person is created in the image of God. They are an image bearer of God. No matter their mental capacity, their physical capacity, their emotional capacity, their intellectual capacity, all people are created in the image of God. And therefore, as a representative of God, I need to treat them as if they were God present before me. They have all of the value of the creator of the universe in them. That's not how we treat people. When I gossip about you, when I have disdain for you, when I ill-treat you, when I judge you based on the color of your skin or your sexual orientation or your gender or your age, or like I could go on and on of different categories that we judge people on. Yeah, that part. Exactly, that part. All of those things. Or I judge you as I would never commit that sin. Never would I commit that sin. So your sin is a heinous sin. God hates that sin. And by default, I can treat you with hatred because you are not turning from your sin. Whatever sin I choose to elevate above all others. That's James is railing against that in how people were being treated in the community. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if if someone claims to have faith but does not have works? Can this, fruit might be a different way, but does not produce fruit in keeping with good works, I could say. Can this kind of faith save him? There's a standard question with a built-in answer is no. Homie, don't play that. That's like the Greek form here. Can that kind of faith save him? No. If a brother or sister is poorly clothed and lacks daily food, and someone says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm, and eat well," but does not give them what the body needs, what good is it? So also faith, if it does not have works, is dead, being by itself. So faith by itself, without actually living it out, is dead. There isn't actually faith there. So it's not actually faith. It might be intellectual knowledge, but it is not faith. Okay? Faith requires that it is matched by actions that are in keeping with it, or it is not actually faith. But someone's going to argue with you about this. Someone will say to you, I have faith and I have works. So I've got both. Show me your faith without works, and I will show you my faith by my works. So you're going to tell me you've got both? Well, and you can show me your faith without works. I'm going to say, I'll show you my faith, and all I'm going to use is my works. I like that. If you can't see my works, well, a different way, and maybe you've heard this. I like this phrase. What you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. What you do speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. So, if how I treat people is with disdain, is with vitriol, is with malice, is with physical violence, is any of those kinds of things, and then I'm trying to proclaim the love of Jesus, you can't listen to my words because all you can do is feel the pain of the treatment that I give you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I'm trying to tell you Jesus' love. You don't feel it because you can't see it. You believe that God is one. Well and good. Even the demons believe that and tremble with fear. So, acknowledging that there is a singular God. So, being a deist doesn't cut it. I'm just using that term. Like, the deists believe that there is a God, that there is a creator of the universe, and then they don't live in light of it. Your actions have to be in line with your faith. If your actions are not in line with your faith, you do not have faith. I might have religious ritual. I might have religious practice. But if I don't have any fruit that is in keeping with it, that is blessing other people, I've got diddly squat, bupkis, nada, zilch, nada. I'm trying to think. That's usually how it goes. Zilch, nada, whatever it is. But would you like evidence, you empty fellow, that faith without works is useless? Okay, what is the empty fellow here? Oh, empty man. Here the singular vocative, anthrope, means person or even fellow, which views that in an instance of rhetorical address in a letter, the pejorative sense is also discussed under the previous heading 7. Okay. You empty fellow. What does King James have here for James 2:20? Oh, vain man. Ooh, it's vain. Kenos.
Strong's G 2756. Kenas.
Okay.
Kenas.
Okay. I think with that, we could go with the self-centered. You would like evidence, oh, you self-centered person. That you're focused on yourself and proving yourself and that faith without works is useless. You want faith? You want proof? Dang, hug, yeah. So you want faith, you want proof that faith without works is useless. Okay. Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac, his son, on the altar? You see that his faith was working together with his works. They went hand in hand. A different way of saying it, it's two sides of the same coin. You cannot have faith without works. The same way a coin, do I have one sitting here? No, I don't. I'm going to say I often do. A coin that has a face on one side and no tails on the other is a counterfeit. Faith that has faith on one side and nothing on the other side does not have works as a counterfeit coin. I love that image of having true faith and counterfeit by putting faith and works together on the same coin. They have to be part of it. It has no value without both being present. Okay, so he's saying the faith that had works with it, Abraham saw offering up Isaac. He couldn't just believe God could raise him from the dead. He had to go actually participate in it by demonstrating his belief in it. You see, the faith was working together with the works of his faith, was perfected by works, and the scripture was fulfilled that says, now Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him for righteousness. It was the actions that he did. And he was called God's friend. You see that a person is justified by works, not by faith alone. So you can't just have intellectual understanding and comprehension and be justified before God. Justified before God is carried out by our actions. And similarly, was not Rahab the prostitute also justified by works when she welcomed the messengers and sent them out by another way? For just as the body without the spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. Yeah, you can't be alive without a spirit within you. You can't separate two things. And he's saying the two things you can't separate are faith and works. Oh yeah, Rahab the prostitute had faith that she would be saved by putting a scarlet cord out her window. She didn't just believe that the scarlet cord would save her. She actually had to put the scarlet cord out the window. She actually had to do the thing that would save her. Mind-blowing thoughts here. I know, James. I know. Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers and sisters, because you know that we will be judged more strictly. Woo! I take this passage very, very seriously. It's one reason why I often tell you this, or try to tell you, that there are different opinions on things than my own. That I came to this conclusion this way, or I will say I'm not sure on this, or I will say please go trust or verify this and test and see and read for yourself and explore it further. Okay? Because I do not want to be a teacher that is rigid and does not grow and does not learn. And I also like to say I'm convinced that 80% of what I believe is 100% correct. I just don't know which is the 20% that isn't 100% correct. And I need to grow and learn in there still. We're all growing and learning. Okay. We all stumble in many ways. What? Not just in some ways? And you don't mean in many ways. Oh, yeah, in many ways. If, if someone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect individual, able to control the entire body as well. So if you can not stumble in what you say, you control your whole body. And if, we put bits into the mouth of a horse to get them to obey us, then we guide their entire bodies. Okay, so he's giving a metaphor here of our speech can guide our entire bodies. I also think we have the power in speech to speak life into people or to speak death into people. If what I do is speak encouragement to you, you can hear and feel and be encouraged. If I speak worthlessness over you and condemnation over you, you hear and feel that repeatedly. I can't remember what the saying is, if it's 5 things or 10 things. Like for every one negative, you need 5 or 10. I can't remember what it is. Positive things to get back to baseline 0, to balance out. We need to hear many, many times more positives than negatives to be just equal. So I think James is identifying that, and we maybe he was onto something way before we understood that. And if we did that one. Sorry, the horse of the entire body. Look at ships. So he's not going to give a different metaphor of something that guides the whole thing. Though they are large and driven by harsh waves, they are steered by a tiny rudder wherever the pilot's inclination directs. I think there's the key. The inclination of the pilot directs it. So too the tongue is a small part of the body, yet it has great pretensions. Think how small a flame sets a huge forest ablaze, and the tongue is a fire. The tongue represents the world of wrongdoing among the parts of the body. It pollutes the entire body and sets a fire of the course of human existence and is set on fire by hell. Okay, so he's giving the metaphor of the power of the tongue, the power of our words to do harm to other people, and it starts out small and it becomes vicious and uncontrollable. The language word translated hell is Gehenna, a Greek transliteration of the Hebrew for Gehenna, Valley of Hinnom. This is the valley of the south of Jerusalem. In Old Testament time, it was used for human sacrifice to the pagan god Molech. And it can be used as a place for human excrement and rubbish were disposed of and burned. In the intertestamental period, it came to be used symbolically of the place of divine punishment. So your tongue is set aflame by the fires of hell. I mean, you're living out that for people. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. I might sneeze here. When I was a kid, I always thought it would be fun to sneeze in a microphone at church. So when I was there, when church wasn't happening, I would try to sneeze in the microphone. I will not do that and blow your ears out. Gesundheit, thank you. Hey, North Hill, you did that too. You know, I think that might be a sign that you might be a good pastor one day. If you have the inclination to sneeze in a microphone, that's gotta like be a prerequisite, right? That this young kid, this young lady might be a welcome pastor someday. I can use them. They're willing to sneeze in a microphone. I just didn't want people around to blow their ears out. I mean, but I did, but I didn't. I wanted no one there so I could really crank the volume and see how loud it could get. Okay, so we've got something small. We have setting ablaze. We have all of this potential harm right here in our mouth. Hey, been lurking for a while. Still fighting graphic drivers, LOL. Oh, I had that too, because I got my new computer set up, and it gave me a warning on graphic drivers, and I had to go into something, and I just turned off the Microsoft list because it said like I had 3 drivers that were a problem and I couldn't figure out how to fix them. But I went under one of the settings, core something setting, and I turned off Microsoft's list of driver problems. When I turned that off, then Microsoft stopped having the problem. I don't know if that would be helpful. I don't know if that's a wise thing. It's what I did. Because it came with a warning of something to go check the drivers, and then I just found the button to click off the Microsoft list. I assume there's a list that says these drivers cause problems, and I'm like, I'm good with those problems. I'll just let them happen. It's probably a better fix. Yes, Y2K loading. There we go. Okay. So we're giving examples here of faith and action. Faith and action, positive action, living out your faith, and negative action that brings harm to others. We had the whole repertoire of selfishness earlier. I think, we're getting into that again here. For every kind of animal, bird, reptile, and sea creature is subdued and has been subdued by humankind. But no human can subdue the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. With it you bless the Lord and Father, and with it you curse people made in God's image. Boom. This is what I was pointing out earlier. When he's talking about loving your neighbor as yourself, you do this because they are created in the image of God. How can you curse someone created in the image of God? You are cursing God in essence by, yes, you kiss your mother with that mouth? Yes. You bless God and you curse people. You can't. You are actually cursing God. Do you not understand that? To curse a person is to curse someone made in the image of God, and someone made in the image of God is a representative of God. Therefore, by representation, you are directly cursing God. Now, some people are fine with cursing God, but you're trying to bless the Lord. You're trying to... So weird on some level. I just still can't wrap my head around the idea of us blessing God. How can we bless God? Like, think about this as a kid. How could a kid bless me? By them being genuinely who they are. By them being genuinely who they are, being genuinely loving, genuinely caring, that is a blessing to me. So when we do that, we are a blessing to God by living out who we've been created to be, by loving other people, by blessing other people, because they're created in the image of God. If I then bless a person created in the image of God, I then am a blessing to God. I'm so enthralled with the idea of blessing. Oh, it's so much fun to think about that. All the thank you, sunshine. All the thank you and get well better cards by the kids. Yes, they are such a blessing. So true. So true. Good morning. From the same mouth come blessing and curses. These things should not be so, brothers and sisters. A spring does not pour out fresh water and bitter water from the same opening, does it? Can a fig tree produce olives, my brothers and sisters, or a vine produce figs? Neither can a salt water spring produce fresh water. So let's just get serious about this for a minute. Pick your person of condemnation, behavior of condemnation, okay? I'm going to pick on a group here just because this annoys me. People whose dogs poop in my yard and they don't clean it up. Yes, it's a thing. And yes, I do not like to go in my yard and mow and then suddenly have a landmine in the middle of my yard or on the edge of it because you walked your dog and you didn't clean up after it. Now, I don't know who it is. I don't have cameras. I can't do anything about it. But you know what I could do? I could go post VODs all over the place. I could go condemn them. I could curse them. I could do all of these things towards them. Yeah, I'm intentionally picking on a group that's like, what are you talking about? I could treat people that way. I could put a sign in my yard. I'm actually seeing this sign. I don't poop in your yard, and I don't want your dog to poop in mine. You know, I've seen that sign. I've thought about getting that. I've thought about having, all those things and being mad about it, being the angry person and going out and doing that. How could I curse that person and then say I love my neighbor as myself? You can't. You can't wish somebody dead and then say I love people. We allow certain groups. This goes back up to the judging people. Like, I can curse the poor for being poor and needy. I can curse the uneducated for being, whatever. I can pick any group for any reason and do this. And James is like, don't. They're created in the image of God. Every person created in the image of God is in equal footing before God. That's it. Ooh, it's just a little shoe polish. No. I'm sorry, my dog is old. Well, I'm not worried about your dog doing it, but clean it up, you know? I don't want to step in it, and I don't want to run it over with my lawnmower either and get it in the tires and you can track it in my house. And if you have dogs in your yard and you understand that, then you're watching out for it. I don't have dogs in my yard, so I'm not looking for it. So, anyway, I'm not really that upset about it, but whenever it happens, I'm just like, come on, man. That's more what it is. I'm not really angry. It's just more like, come on. Can't you take care of this? Okay, chat, no leaving, bonus fertilizer. Okay. From the same mouth come blessing and curses. This should not be, brothers and sisters. That's just to be a fantastic, yep. Okay. Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, he should show his works done in the gentleness that wisdom brings. Ooh, not arrogance, but in gentleness. But if, if you have bitter jealousy and selfishness in your heart, do not boast and tell lies against the truth. Ooh. Whoa. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Do not boast and tell lies against the truth. Is he saying boasting is telling lies against the truth? Let's see that again. By his good conduct, he should show his works done in gentleness that brings wisdom. So the works done in gentleness by your good conduct, that brings wisdom. But if, in contrast to that, you have bitter jealousy and selfishness in heart, at least don't boast, because in boasting is telling lies about the truth. Woo! Because you have jealousy and selfishness of hearts. I am envious of you. I want what you have. I have selfishness in heart. It's all mine, and I'm not giving you any. Mike Stomp. I know. Like, this is James getting serious about, I'm better than you. You don't deserve it. I'm self-righteous. Such wisdom does not come from above, but is earthly, natural, demonic. Look at that trifecta there. Earthly, natural, demonic. Those three got just woven together. I was here first, I matter more. Ooh, yeah, that's one of those. I was here first, I matter more. I have more followers. I'm better looking. I make more money. I can think of all kinds of things to distinguish and separate myself out. Yeah, it's not just a childish phrase. No. It's earthly. It's earthly to do. It's natural. It's natural to do. However, it's demonic. Demonic is division. If we go back to, if we go back to the first temptation in the garden, what is the temptation? That you are less than, that you can have more. There is something that is being kept from you that you can have more, that you can be superior to, or you can be like, and I like this interpretation of not like God, but like the gods, the spiritual beings. You can be like spiritual beings. If you do this, you can be like. So it is a lie that you are lesser and you can be more, and we turn that into, it's earthly, it's natural, it's demonic. It's all of those things. When we take worldly wisdom, don't do that. When we take natural wisdom, don't do that because it's demonic. Woo! Yes, God doesn't want you to be wise. God wants you to receive wisdom from him. Yeah, such wisdom doesn't come from above. And we were to pray for wisdom when we don't have it. Yeah, it's what Satan was hinting at too. Exactly. Hinting at too. Yep. God doesn't want you to be wise. I see what you're saying there. Yeah. For where there is jealousy and selfishness, there is disorder and every evil practice. So, how do I know that your church is unhealthy? Is your community unhealthy? Your Christian community is unhealthy. There is jealousy and selfishness. That's all I need to look for. There is disorder and every evil practice if I see those things. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceful, then gentle, then accommodating, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial, non-hypocritical. And the fruit that consists of righteousness is planted in peace among those who make peace. What should we see in our church that's pure, peaceable, gentle, accommodating, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and non-hypocritical? And the fruit that consists of righteousness is planted in peace among those who make peace. Boom. We may read many Christian communities often. Oh, this needs to be read in many Christian communities often. Yes. Like, if you wanted, like, you know what? Maybe this is one of those things that I should mark this off. So wisdom is pure when it's peaceable, when it's gentle, when it's accommodating. So if my wisdom is not gentle, if my wisdom is not accommodating, if my wisdom is not merciful, it's not wisdom from above. Oh, snap. Yeah. We need, oh my goodness, this should be what we are striving for, is to be peaceable, gentle, accommodating, merciful, impartial, non-hypocritical, consisting of righteousness and peace. Woo! Okay, we're not going to be able to go any further because I got a meeting at 10. So that's going to wrap that up. But my goodness, James. I don't know if anyone knows this phrase. Oh, thanks, Sunshine. Oh, Mel will be there too, probably. Yeah, I know. We're not going to finish James in one setting. I didn't think we would anyway. But, oh, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if you've heard this phrase, but people will say it. Pastor, you've gone from preaching to meddling. James is meddling. Like, okay, so the idea of that is, I just want to hear a good word of conviction. I want to feel convicted, but I don't want to change. I don't want to change. I just want to feel the conviction. Woo, that means it's a good message because it was for someone else and they better change. But I don't want to change. Bad meeting, bad. Well, I have friends that I want to hang out with and check in with. Still trying to decide where to stick your stickers. Hey, no worries. Took me quite a while to figure out where I wanted to, and then I decided I'm putting them on my mug, and I'm putting them on my laptop, and I'm putting them on my luggage. So, you know. You need to leave early, Mel? Yeah. Yeah, or nowadays you get called woke. I'm not afraid what people call me. I don't play well with labels. I don't play well with labels. I just don't. Like, what do you mean by that word? What implication are you using that word for? I mean, I like, you're no surprise here. I play with words. I look up words. I find nuance of words. I love the exploration of words and meaning. So put a label on me. Oh, I was actually just listening to a podcast which was fascinating. It was talking about how in the Christian community, we often are fine with using stereotypes with minorities, and minority not just in racial minorities, but in any other group. However, when the label white is put on the white part of the church, we don't like the label white church. It was like, oh, so you want to use stereotypes and labels to identify groupings of people, but you don't like it yourself? Maybe you shouldn't do it to other people then. I don't know. A word that tickles the ear but doesn't convict or bring sin to light. Yep, that's exactly it. I call myself names way before folks have a chance. Well, I will identify and call and do things. I just don't like labels. Like, no. I'm not just that. I'm also this other thing. I'm not just that. I'm also this other thing. Like, hey, you call me pastor. Okay, but I'm also a dad. I'm also a husband. I'm also a son. I'm also a creative individual. I'm also an arrogant individual. Yeah, I am. So, yeah, I'm also a cook. There we go. I also am a cyclist. I mean, I could just keep going. Which part do you want to talk about? Which part do you want to pigeonhole me into? And James is like, no, don't do that with people. No. Treat them all as in the image of God. So, he's also a dapper flat cap dude. Yes. Okay. Let's find someone to raid out. Let's do that. And I will probably, I'm not going to raid, like I'm not going to be there working, so I'm not going to raid out to my other channel. I also don't want to do that every day. But I think Friday we will raid out to the fish channel again. We'll raid out to One Dapper Koi Pond again. I will maybe do a surprise stream tomorrow morning. It'll only be an hour-ish, and we can finish up James. If I do stream tomorrow, I might try to do that. Wow. I don't know if last time I've raided there. See if there's anyone else. Just starting. Okay. Well, that's where I'm going to go. Let's start the raid. Let me get a blessing on everyone. Praise the Lord. New driver worked, I think. Hey, awesome. Fish too. Yeah, exactly. All right. May God's seeking comfort find you. May his loving arms bind you. May his might protect you. May his wisdom direct you. May the joyous love of Jesus Christ be with you and all those you know, both now and forevermore. Amen. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here, hanging out with me. I love hanging out with all of you, reading the Bible, and I appreciate that you are learning, just like I am, to live out our faith and to love other people and to become more gracious than we may have ever been, and thereby show Jesus to people. So thank you for doing that along with me, and for all of your love and support. Yeah, you're a hoot, and I'm learning stuff too. Well, yeah, I try to. Well, I've said this before. I'm not here for your entertainment. I'm only concerned with entertaining myself. And if you end up entertained, well, I guess that's a benefit. Let me get my credits before we roll out. Bum-ba-da-bum. Be blessed, everyone.
Gospels, prophets, sages, Leviticus laws to Paul's fine phrases. Turning them corners, no spiritual mazes. Genesis to Revelation, soap divine, flipped conscripts, endless grace you'll find. Psalms singing sweet, unbroken lines, hitting that rhythm, wordplay refined. Anybody in here blessed?